No dice. They don't have it. For some reason, it's not working in our community. So I've reached out to them, and they've been less than helpful. They said that there was an outage, and this is what we get.
There's a
So
lot of people going for walks in the street.
apparently, so ultimately, no internet, and so I tried to do the hotspot. I tried to do as best as I could, and that didn't work with the old laptop. So listen, we're going to do it this way. We are going to go live like we would on apparently Instagram. I guess you can do that on YouTube. Listen, I'm behind the times, but ultimately we're going to provide the show to you. So we're going to rip through the entire card. You're not going to have the graphics. You're not going to have anything. You can blame me, but I don't work for the company that provides the internet. So screw them. Matt, ultimately, we're going to give Rogers a look because of this. And when it does come down to it, you have Lewis, you have Almeida. We've got Chapo tuning in. What's a good parlay?
What's up, everyone?
You found the wrong show. We've got Jose Contreras is tuning in and saying one time for the ones that missed, why the F are you guys going to stop making videos? I'll say it for you, Jose, because I haven't had a social life in 5 years. And it's not a joke, and I know I seem upset. I'm upset because our show isn't going like it normally should. But Jose, man, like truth be told, every single night I work on these videos, every single day during the weekend, all day today, even without having the internet. I was hotspotting to my phone to make graphics for UFC 295. Tomorrow, I'm going to watch all the tape on 295. Tomorrow night, we're going to film it. Monday's going to be some more editing. Then you kind of set the deck straight once again, and you get ready for the next week. I work a full-time job. I travel just about every week for my job. You've seen my, what was it? When I went to Toronto for Luke versus RDA. So if you want to know, that's what's up. And wording that I've used all this whole time, I said indefinite hiatus, and I've kind of made the joke, Matt. Like it's like GNR, right? They got back together like 15 years after the fact.
The Eagles said it was going to be until hell freezes over, but guess what? They do a reunion tour about every 3 years.
That's it. So realistically, I'm not saying forever, and I'm not saying no, and I'm not saying it's a for real, like it's a hard and fast retirement.
I liken it to what Mr. Miyagi said. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And when you're just watching this much MMA all the time, this closely, you do kind of lose the love for the sport just that much more week after week.
Yeah,
so
and
just when you're that close to it, it does become a bit of a chore.
And I will kind of add to that just one more bit before we talk about this card, because again, I had OBS set up and we are going to do this like a normal show, but of course the internet from Bell didn't want to work today. So you got Victor Hugo taking on Daniel Marcos. You've got Lucas Almeida Onama. That one fell out already in the week, but I had the notes and the graphics ready for that one. Eduardo Mora missed weight, 119.5 for straw weight. If you don't do the weigh-ins, I said, listen, when it happens, you have those people. I feel bad for the fighters in that circumstance too, but it sucks donkey nuts.
Well, and it feels like we've had a really long time since there has been a shakeup like this on weigh-in days, right? Like normally the weigh-in days, you'll have one fighter who might not look good, another fighter who might miss by a little bit, but to have this many fighters not only miss weight, but by such a large amount was really surprising to see, because I feel like, again, there's always times here and there, but I feel like we were on a pretty good streak there for the weigh-ins.
Yeah, we were, and it was going well, but I don't know, maybe the down in Brazil. Overall, the computer behind us tethered, plugged there at the bottom of the screen in orange. But when we do this one, sitting on the card, Fernandez is going to be taking on a really tough test of March Casey. Fernandez in a little bit, I wouldn't say short notice, but it is kind of like a big push, though. You're taking on a guy that's had 14 fights in the UFC. He split them, so 7-7 for Casey. But when you do look at this one, Matt, I mean, listen, Cowboy Fernandez, he really is a buzzsaw when he can get it into those spots where he's good. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He trains out of Nova União. His striking's really good. But, Matt, when you do consider it, I mean, you got a guy in Casey he's turned himself into a... You asked me before we started this. We were talking about something completely unrelated with a different sport. And you said, is Connor Bedard really good?
Yeah.
He's been good so far in his young NHL career. But you listen to guys like Logan Cooley or Connor Bedard or these really high-end polished prospects that are so good offensively. And what do they all say? I'm sure it's the same in the NBA, as maybe not the NFL, because there's offense and defense.
Very different.
But they always say, if I'm a good offensive player, I want to work on my defense. I got to get that down. I want to be a two-way player. You look at a guy like...
To what? You are right, and that has been the interesting thing about Casey. It feels like to put the amount of skills into the other parts of his game, he did take a little bit from what made him special, and that always has been the concern for me with Mark Casey, because you're bringing up, he has had 14 fights in the UFC, right? And with the order that we saw in the early goings of his UFC career, you would assume by 14 fights in, he would at least be in the mix.
All right, so maybe we still have you.
Back
Maybe
again.
we'll put it back. I moved it. We lost you, so hopefully we still have you.
I don't think he's going to get the win. Now, I do have him in this fight. I think it's just a little bit too much. It's still a lot of experience at the highest level, and I do think that's valuable.
And I think we're split on this one at the start of the week. I had Callaway Fernandez. You're going with Mark J. I don't know. Listen, Bell sucks. This is turning into a bash
like
Bell. These guys are awful. So if I pick it up, I guess we have two guy makes. But when it does come down to this one, let's just shoot through these fights, Matt, and send the people home happy. How about that? I've got Callaway Fernandez against Mark Casey. That didn't change. Eduardo Mora taking on Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. I said it at the start of the week. Mora's a giant favorite. You can find 2 of her pro fights out of 9. She's had a pro career that's lasted 2 years so far. And then she misses weight at 119.5. Honestly, this is going to sound super negative for a fighter that's 9-0. I cut bait right now. Even if she wins, I don't give a rat's behind. She had a full time to get ready for this fight. She didn't make the weight. I still have Eduardo Mora in the fight, but I think that's got to be the most unprofessional thing ever.
Co-sign everything you said. I still have her in the fight, though.
All right, Matt. The next one, we have D. Gomes coming in looking like her teammate. Short hair, don't care. With the flair of the dyed blonde. Gomes taking on Angela Hill. I'm going to go with Angela Hill still in the fight. Bub Collins coming up with an excuse for Eduardo Mora. It's not an excuse to the highest level. I know I don't have that part of my body, but yeah, it's still a bad excuse. If everybody else can make the weight and you can't, then it's still a bad look.
You guys know I love basketball and I don't have a Raptors hat on right now. I like an Angela Hill a bit to like Dennis Schroeder. She tries really hard and she does compete, and that really goes a long way. I know everybody at the professional level, you kind of assume that about them, right? But you never question Angela Hill's will in a lot of these fights, and that's why it is difficult to predict her, because she's got the volume, you know what she's good at. The record speaks for itself at 15-13. I have D. Gomes. I think she is going to spring what might not be an upset, just I guess in terms of popularity. I think she's going to be able to get the win.
Dustin Smith, I don't hate MMA. I don't like Bell's internet because my Fibe internet hasn't worked all day. I don't like their
like Iguodala.
Their LT or their 5G that goes to the phones. I don't like a single thing about them, and I'm not that amped to see a fighter who has 2 fights that I can find as a pro out of 9 who's only fought for 2 years and missed weight by 3.5 pounds in her first time. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. If you're addicted to gambling, get help, and that's not a joke. Matt.
He loves mega loads from gas stations, though.
I do have Angela Hill over D. Gomes, but I know we're split on that one too, right?
It's just such a weird fight, though, because I think it is one of those fights that it's close on paper, but it's probably not going to be a close result, right? It could be one-sided either way.
All right, Matt. The next one, Petrino taking on Bukauskas. I have Petrino to beat Bukauskas.
I'll leave it at Petrino. Should be a fun fight, though.
All right, Zaleski's taking on Fakhretdinov at the weigh-ins. Fakhretdinov with the bandana, the Brazilian flag. I do have Fakhretdinov to get the win over old Elizeu.
I'm excited for this fight, but I do have Fakhretdinov.
Elvis Brenner taking on Kainan Krashowski. Make sure you check out that video. It was 19 minutes and 41 seconds long. If you don't think I like MMA, I definitely like MMA if I'm doing 19 minutes and 40 seconds on an Elvis Brenner, Kainan Krashowski fight. And I think Krashowski makes this one really close. And I'm still not sold on Brenner 2 wins in.
I do have Brenner in this matchup. From the tape that I watched about Kainan, he's going to get wins at the UFC level, I believe. Like, I don't think it's going to be a one and done by any means. A really exciting style, too. So I could see him going out there and getting some bonuses at a certain point, excuse me. But I do have Brenner in the fight.
JD wants us to connect on business opportunities. It's not going to happen, man. Like, if it's going dormant, the channel's going dormant. We have Vieira taking on Armin Petrosyan, the first of the grappler versus striker matchups.
Say, when oil meets water, what's going to happen?
Yeah. So the Brenner fight against Krashowski, I do have Brenner. Vieira versus Petrosyan, I do have Vieira in that one. A homecoming.
I have Adolfo, but there is a part of me that feels like he's just going to be forcing takedowns and chasing Armin, and that's not a fight I want to see. Somebody
puts a leg over, puts himself on like a backpack.
And that's always been the thing about Hidalgo, right? BJ specialist, but he's so strong that those takedowns aren't as unorthodox as some of the other ones, right? He doesn't have to rely on some.
Riding with Rodrigo Nascimento, Dontel Mays.
I've also got Nascimento.
Great wrestler. Bonfim taking on Dalby, going with Bonfim.
Also at Bonfim.
And then in the main event, Jalton Almeida versus Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis, allegedly, drove his car really fast at the start of the week at home, but that guy had hair, according to him. Matt, for me, I do have Jalton Almeida with the takedowns, but Derek Lewis, against opponents that have taken him down recently, he's on a pretty tidy streak. So again, for me, I like Jalton Almeida, but this should be an interesting main event. it's a big name to add to your resume where
100%.
the original matchup with Curtis Blades fell out.
And Derek Lewis is still a home run hitter, right? Like, he might go out there and strike out 9 out of 10 at bats, but that one time he does make contact, we all know what's going to happen. And as long as Derek Lewis is in that cage, you know he does have a chance to win this fight. I, too, have Jailton Almeida. I do think he represents kind of the next evolution of the heavyweight fighter. But Derek Lewis, he's got more records for knockouts than we can even name. So Derek Lewis is going to be a live dog.
So let's all sit here and hope. We'll hope that, Bell's Fibe internet to the house, that it comes back, that they figure out their outages. My arm's really sore from holding up this phone because I need that extra bar from Bell's, 5G, which hasn't worked all that well throughout this show. So listen, Bell, step up the game. We're going to do our very best, Matt. The next card that's coming up, UFC 295. People are excited about it. JD, bud, I'm not handing off my channel to somebody. Not a gosh darn chance. But yeah, we're excited about that. It is a really big card.
It's a huge one. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are down because of the Jones and Stipe. But look at the
Pavlovich is a heck of a fight.
I was going to say, the replacement fight's amazing, and that card is a phenomenal one, Tom. Alex Pereira's fighting Yuri Prohashka, and the return from what I quote is the most serious shoulder injury I've ever seen.
You're going to see me and I've already got the intro mapped out in my head. I'm going to do a little bit of a Ferris Bueller's Day Off where Cameron's staring at the picture. I got that Ryzen poster up there. I'm going to be doing something like that. But Matt, I'm really looking forward to it. Make sure you tune in for that. Apologies that the live show ended up this way, but we wanted to bring it to you anyway. Just keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. Hopefully this shuts off like Instagram. As we always say, let's get into it.